So let me move on to today's guest. Mr. Yakoob has over 15 years experience of handling complex cases and serious crimes. He coined the first significant slogan, "There is a defense for every offense," in his viral media videos, gathering hundreds, thousands of views and followers. And that his main drive is to have more people educated and less people convicted. He says what's inspired him to become a lawyer was one of his close friends was arrested for attempted murder, and he believed he was innocent of that crime. So let's start with that case. Thank you so much for joining me. It's fantastic having you on board. I watched some of your clips over the last few days, and you're certainly an interesting character. Tell me how you got into this. What made you get into criminal law? You talked in terms of your friend. How did that end up?
If I never got into criminal law, there would have been a lot of innocent people would have been in prison over the last couple of years. But the main drive for me to get into criminal law was what you've just mentioned about my friend who was convicted of attempted murder. And still to this day, I believe he was innocent.
And he got convicted in relation to that. Have you spoken to him since then? Are you still in contact with him?
Yes, he's one of my very good friends still.
So let's go back to starting this criminal law practice. What made you, you're obviously doing a great job now, but what made you decide, you know what, actually, I can make a difference here?
A lot of people don't know the basics of law.
Right.
You'll be surprised. A police officer could come up to them and ask them anything and everything, and they will think, or they have the misconception, not everybody, but a lot of people do have the misconception that they have to answer everything that is asked of them by the police, and they have to volunteer information to them. But I know that's not the case. You know that's not the case. A lot of people know that's not the case. But I'm talking about the majority, the general public, the layman, they don't know.
And how does that play out for your practice? So you, am I right in saying you run a 24-hour telephone line, which is
Yes,
and is that very busy?
very busy. I think we are one of the busiest firms in the whole country right now.
As a result of that telephone line, or just generally because of your profile?
A bit of both. I mean, of that phone line only rings because of me, doesn't it?
Right.
So I have represented a lot of people in the past, and through that, my client base and my network is huge. And I think I am the go-to man for a lot of people out there when their family members or friends are in trouble. So
And
because
why
of
would you say you're the go-to man? What if is that because you're very successful in what you do? Have you had some great results, or is it just because you've got a big profile?
a bit of everything. See,
Right.
the sauce requires the recipe of, you have to be, like you mentioned, Mizzy. Why are people talking about him? Because it's made noise. My profile, what I did when I appeared on the social media circle, I made a lot of noise. So people were talking about me.
Right.
Automatically generates traffic, and it, with traffic comes clients, and of course we provide a service. And that's how I did it basically. And I wanted to do something what other people are not in my profession. A lot of people don't like to go in front of cameras, not in my profession, just generally,
Hmm.
people have issues with talking in front of cameras. I don't, of course you don't.
Do you think you have a general, do you think there's a main group that you're targeted at? I mean, I could see you being very popular with the younger generation, and perhaps the generation who feel they're, policing's massively changed. The older generation have a lot more respect for the police, and understandably so in many cases, than the younger generation.
And people should respect the police. I'm always saying that the police do not deserve to be disrespected. If a police officer is coming up to you and asking you, for example, your insurance papers, if you're stopped in a vehicle, or your license, you can provide this basic information to them because they're simply doing a job. They are going to go home to their families, they're providing for them. And working as a police officer is a means for them providing for their families. So, police officers do not deserve to be disrespected. And I've seen a lot of videos now circulating. One recently, when the guy was recording the police officer was just asking him simple questions. There was a young lad recording, and he was basically being an idiot. So if somebody is going to be disrespecting a police officer, you can't expect them to be all sorry, sir, and thank you, sir, after being disrespected. Nobody likes to be disrespected.
Mm.
So this is what youngsters need to understand. Cooperate with the police. Don't disrespect them. My message is that you don't have to volunteer any information based on the allegation that they are putting forward. That doesn't mean be disrespectful to them.
Right. I
You know,
understand,
I
and that's an important point, isn't it? You know, I
of
think it's
course I
important.
advocate people knowing their rights, not
Right.
disrespecting the police or even inciting criminal behavior. I've been labeled somewhat by some people as inciting criminal behavior. And I tell them, no, that's not what I do. I'm simply trying to educate people. And most of my videos are basic, and a lot of them are with a client sitting next to me who I've got permission to film and talk about his case from. And I've just got a result on that case. So I'm just
And
advocating.
do you get criticism from either from the same court, or either the criminal justice system, or from other people? Because you are doing what very few solicitors do. You know, the large majority of those people in the criminal justice system, care about their day-to-day business quietly without a profile. You're completely the opposite.
I am. Because I believe to get noticed, you have to make noise and you have to cause a bit of disruption, not in a disrespectful way, not in a way that I'm disrupting people directly, but you have to make noise to get noticed, and that's exactly what I did.
And that's to get noticed. Would you say that, I mean, I think we're all responsible, we all have certain amount of egos. There's no doubt that anybody that appears on television or works in, the journalistic field in front of a camera has an ego. Would you say that that is mixed in with the work that you do? So there's a purpose for what you're setting out to do, which is to ensure that everyone is educated, but there's a bit of an ego there as well?
No, it's not ego. I would say it's
Right.
called confidence.
Okay.
You have to have the confidence to say what you want and say it with conviction and try to get your point across to people when you're speaking to them.